I think it's a wonderful idea.
I'm a small town girl. I come from Salmon Nation. So I come from community that is deeply, deeply tied to that.
Well, I think it's a wonderful idea. I think it would really bring not only our nations together, but it will really get us focused on the protection of something that is so sacred to us, which is a salmon.
Well, if we do nothing, we're going backwards. We've got to move forward. Like, our salmon is in deep decline, and that is what the human race has done to it. So shouldn't we all stand together and move forward to protect it?
And the longer I'm here, the more I'm feeling like I'm learning how to see, how to smell, how to talk, how to feel, how to learn, how to be closer to a sense of purpose, who I am. And I think Salmon Nature is the conduit.
I'm Chris Brookfield. I live in Bellingham, Washington. I am a entrepreneur, and I'm one of these people who thought that by looking outward I might find a place to be. And the more times that I traveled from Washington State, the more I appreciated coming back home. And so I don't think I'm alone. I think that there are a lot of people who moved to the West Coast, trying to find something a little bit different, trying to find a place where they feel like they belong. And so that was the first thing I thought of with Salmon Nation.
Well, my name is Yakulas and Larry Jorgensen. I'm a resident of Bella Bella, which is a Haitzik community. To me, a Salmon Nation is really that collective body that either views or does connect directly with salmon in a positive way. It's really just a spiritual connection. It's not a political connection. It's not an artificial connection at any level. I just think there's amazing people all up and down this coast, from Alaska to California, who view and sort of relate their lives somehow to the beauty and the absolute magnificence of a species in our planet that does all the wonderful things that salmon do and somehow nurture your soul.
To me and to the people that I work with here, and seemingly that I see as I've worked around the coast, salmon already are filling that sort of role as a central totem of our shared culture. It's beautiful that Salmon Nation is articulating that and sort of affirming that and uniting people under that umbrella.
Just in hearing about Salmon Nation, I've seen the t-shirts around, so I've had a lot of people going, well, what is the Salmon Nation about? I know that we have neighbors that, for example, the Nishka, the Gitsan, the Wisuits, and the Haida, and traditionally these are people that we traded with, and also that we worked together on. We never had problems with salmon disappearing when we were all working together. Their salmon are disappearing the same way the white buffalo did. We are now concerned, so how do we go back to what worked at one time and make sure that we all protect it and we're all responsible for that?
We're almost at the point of no return in terms of commercial viability of any fisheries. It really costs you more to fish right now than you're going to catch. So if we are going to look at that as some kind of a foundation for our economy, other than just sustainable fisheries, sustenance fisheries rather, then we need to do something about it. There's absolutely no doubt about that.
My name's Malim, my traditional name. My English name is Glenn Williams. I've been the president here and the leader of our group for nearly 3 decades now. I totally agree with it. Salmon are migratory and the stocks are dwindling now, and we need to work collectively together with other stakeholders to protect the food supply and our way of life, and that we can really determine the social well-being of our people and some of the more alternative economic futures, not having companies from around the world come into our area, and just it's a grab and run.
My name's Hannes Edinger. I'm an economist. I run a business called Big River Analytics. I think the salmon here, they create their own economy, and if you can attract people that choose to live here, you know, they will bring with them their jobs and their entrepreneurial energy and their entrepreneurial ideas and make a go of it. And there are a lot of people here doing that sort of thing. And I think the salmon are ultimately the draw for, if you went around town and you asked people, it's why people are here. It's why people have always been here, you know, that predates settlers, predates, you know, we're talking 10,000 years plus, and that continues to be true.
I mean, it really is the icon of the region, whether you're First Nation or settler. I'm Pat Moss, and I live in the Bulkley Valley, just outside of Smithers. People who've chosen to live here, that have come from all over the world, but have made a decision that they want to be in this region and feel really connected to place.
My name is Heidi Westfall. I am a financial planner by vocation, by avocation. I am a citizen of the Salmon Nation, and I believe that the rivers that bring us together are the foundation for the next generation and for a healthy life. We need to find a way to be mindful of our environment, to really exploit the natural resources that we have within us and that are around us in a sustainable way to make sure that we're leaving a positive future for our children.
I'm Ann Hill. I live in Terrace. This is a place that people will do almost anything to protect, and they'll just do whatever it takes. You know, we've gotten rid of some really stupid projects like Enbridge and, you know, building an LNG plant next to a salmon nursery. People around here will fight to protect their salmon. I think we could definitely be an inspiration to other areas. I mean, the thing is, you can't do anything in isolation. And all these victories that we've had up here, you know, people really know how to work together.
My work is like nothing I do can be done without other people. And everything I do depends on conversations and connections. So without those, how do we make anything happen?
I think there's an opportunity here that we can take some time and develop a possible scenario that will create economy for the region that will take us into the next decade and well beyond. I think if people were provided an opportunity outside of the norm or the prescribed sort of consensus that's out there, I think they would jump at the opportunity. They're looking for solutions.
It seems to me that as human beings, we only miss something when it's gone. Why can't we protect it while we have an opportunity to? That opportunity to work together is how we're actually going to raise that awareness and make people really aware of the fact that they need to make a difference themselves. Working together is the only way to do that.
So how do we put focus on that? What steps do we need to take to focus on how important salmon are to the health and the wealth of these First Nations? And I think it's doable. I think there's things we can do that will bring these communities together like never before.
And for all the rest of us who are not Indigenous people living in our home territories, the idea of a salmon nation allows us to get behind something that's bigger than ourselves. As society develops and as people begin to understand how important wilderness and wild places are to us as a group and to individuals, we want to protect the values that we see. We protect what we love, and I think more and more of us are falling in love with nature every day.
Well, I've seen it in action. I've seen Salmon Nation in action, and you could be a commercial fisher and a sport fisher at each other's throats at a meeting, and you could be arm in arm at, you know, a protest to protect our salmon from an oil pipeline or from tankers or from coal bed methane development or from fish farms or from a really ill-conceived logging proposal. I've seen all of those things happen, and it's one of the most powerful things. People that may not see eye to eye on other issues will come together around salmon. It's the rallying point.
Salmon Nation, another way to look at it is it's a system of life. It's a system. And for when I came here and I would ask someone who lives here, they would respond, well, we're the Salmon Nation people. And then I'd ask further, and they say, well, it's not just the people. The animals are part of Salmon Nation. And they say it's not just the animals, the wolves and the bears. The trees are part of Salmon Nation. And they say the Salmon Nation, the salmon nitrogen's all the way through, and it's in a system, it's a life. However, it's also a signal. And if the salmon are healthy, the system of life is healthy, especially for the people whose lives depend on the salmon. And so the concept of Salmon Nation to me became a symbol, but for this particular region, it's reality.
When I think of Salmon Nation, I'm really looking at these landscapes that are so that create abundance for salmon, and they're the same landscapes that these same watersheds create abundance for a whole host of other ecosystems, and for people that live at that boundary of the ocean and the water and the forest and the rocks and the mountains.
I don't think you have to be a fisherman or you have to be a First Nations person living and subsisting on salmon in order to care. Whatever attracts you here, whatever draws your heart and your soul to want to be here and be part of that, whether you live urban or rural or anywhere, it doesn't matter. It's a connection. It's a feeling.
And so by calling this region Salmon Nation, what we all are beginning to do is actually putting salmon at the forefront. And it's important to put salmon at the forefront of changing the purpose of a system, because it's the salmon that end up being the biological marker of health in this system.
I like to think that there is a lot of heart in protecting the Salmon Nation. People tend to forget that it's not just the salmon that we're talking about. Our way of thinking is holistic. So the whole land base we need to be aware of in order to save the salmon. If we don't do that, what is those grandchildren, great-grandchildren, what are they going to live on if there is no more salmon, if the pollution kills them all? So thinking not only for today, we need to think of 7 generations down the line in order for us to sustain what we have today. It's a wonderful idea and based on my brother Cecil's concept of the magic canoe, how people are invited onto the canoe of like-minded people, people who want to sustain what we have today. And there's many people, salmon people, who are of like mind, who have the heart to be on this magic canoe. And I'm sure that a lot of people will be more than willing to get onto the canoe and paddle in the same direction.